One
We're
night
back.
upon
You
my
probably just really screwed up the focus. All right. Oh, yeah, I'm going to start the timer, otherwise we'll go too long. So, if you notice, it's not Ann today. So, when we had the Bourbonista on, we actually picked up about 6 or 7 millennials. So, we noticed in our demographic that our numbers were down with the women, aged 23 to 46. So we brought John in to help with those numbers.
I got skills.
Yeah. And Ann will still be with us today, but John, I think you've heard us mention him before. John is a first-time participant in the whiskey calendar, but just kind of a savant with his tasting notes. So don't disappoint tonight.
Pressure.
All right. But Ann, you can come back because we need the whiskey.
All right.
So I don't know where anything is.
So
What am I getting?
We need
Neither do I, John.
we need Clynelish 14.
Clynelish 14.
Mm-hmm.
Guessing that's Irish.
Nope.
Nope. Scottish.
Yep.
I know. Oh, got it.
Okay.
There you go.
Probably need a glass too.
Me.
Yeah.
One?
Good.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Clynelish 14. I should have had you pronounce this one too, because you wouldn't have got Clynelish.
Nope, I wouldn't. Nope.
You just said like Clynelish.
Clynelish, yeah, I would say
Alright.
Clynelish,
Yeah. All right. So this is a Highlands single malt, 14 years old. So we're getting into the teenagers still. Go ladies first, then John.
Thank you.
So this one's 46% alcohol by volume. While you guys get ready to do your nosing, I'll read a little bit of the bottle. It's founded on Scotland's remote northeast coast, and that's going to come in here in a minute with the tasting notes. By the future Duke of Sutherland, and the Wildcat mark is inspired by the Sutherland coat of arms, but you knew that, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I've been reading up on things.
All right, so this one is about a mile or so away from the Clynelish burn, and it enters a rocky gorge and tumbles over some rocks and that kind of stuff. So, John, what do you get on the nose?
I actually get something that's like, do you get a little bit of the sea?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's
It's a little different than any of the other ones that
that's-
we've had so far.
kind of cool. The dude's a savant. Like, you picked this up. So this Highlands distillery is located like within a couple miles of the sea. So like some of the real, like first time I had it, I didn't really get sea or salt or anything, but people who know their whiskey, when they nose it and taste it, can pick up that salinity or that salty sea air on the nose. Ann, how about you?
I got a little, I have to say a little bit of wood, but,
That's not always a little.
well, you know.
No, I don't.
Okay, I get a lot.
There you go.
Okay. Now that I'm blushing. I get a little, like a caramel.
Mm-hmm.
I buy that.
So to me, this one, I get heather.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. And like earthiness, like almost like like damp moss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vegetal.
Almost like a subtle peat.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Get a little plum. So I wonder if this is this all bourbon or sherry? Didn't really check and see. All right, so it says flighty fruit. Yeah, flighty. I got your disease now.
You do have my disease.
Fruity, slightly. God, I haven't even drank anything yet. Slightly smoky.
Take 38.
Yeah, there we go. All right, well, let's give it a try. Get some pear on the end.
It was a little harsher than I thought it would be. Not in a bad way, but
I buy the pear. I'd say little pepper.
Yep, definitely got pepper.
Right on the tip of the tongue, like when you first when you go with it.
So I think if I remember right, Clynelish used to supply was a distillery that would do a lot of their distillates or their whiskeys for the big blenders like the Johnny Walkers and the Chivas type scotches. So I think up until recently, it wasn't one that you'd really find out in the wild with their own label on it. Now I'm definitely picking up the peat now.
I'm
like
actually
that.
now getting like plum.
Are you?
Yeah. I find that sometimes what happens is like I'll start to smell, then I take a drink, then I come back, then I take another drink,
Yep.
and it's
Yeah.
like
it changes.
you play with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Typically, I've noticed that if you play with it, it changes. That's the first whiskey too.
I know.
Wow.
You're in trouble.
All right, so we're gonna challenge you, Anne.
Okay.
Find the other bottle of Clynelish that's down there.
The Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
No,
Yeah.
my wife bailed on me on that. She kept going. She left me in the dust.
Did she?
Yeah, she's on.
Can you grab
have
3 more glasses? So we're gonna do a comparison. So I'm sure if you don't know, they came out with these Game of Thrones whiskey. So one for each house. This is House Tyrell, but they did a Clynelish, but this one's 51%. So this one is 46. So when I tried this one at first, I thought, maybe it's just kind of a gimmicky whiskey, but I'll be interested to see what you guys think. Just bumping it up from 46 to, what did I say, 51?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exact same whiskey, just a higher proof. Still my queen, honey.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh. That brings out now the fruit more in that one than I initially thought. Like a toffee-ish or
Yeah.
something, right?
Is that like a
Yeah.
lot richer and
Yeah.
Caramel, almost.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's
As I say,
sweeter.
if you can, like when you get whiskeys, and even if you're playing with Irishes and they're 2 or 3 different types, do these comparisons because it's really, if you're trying to figure out how to pick up different things in whiskey, you'll smell different things. You might not know right away what they are, but as you go through it a little bit more, it's just like almost like a burnt sugar almost.
How they get it? How do you get from 46 to 51? Is there something specific that they're doing to get it that way?
Yeah, so normally, and I think it varies. It's all dependent on the distillery character, the whiskey character they're trying to get. But most, just for general explanations, they'll put them in the cask somewhere in the 60% alcohol. So even if they run off the stills at 90, they'll dilute it down to the 60s and then put it in the barrel. So this one probably, when you see cask strength, a lot of times you see anywhere between like the high 50s up to 60-some%. Like one of the ones we have at the end, a bourbon, is 60-some%. So I don't know if they put it in at 60 and it came out at 50-something, or they just took it at 60 and brought it down with a little bit of water to 51. But that's where I believe it's the master blender in all distilleries, or even the master distiller will bring the whiskey down to a certain level to where they think it's the most approachable and it has the flavor profile that they're looking for.
So it's almost in reverse. It's not that, because I initially was thinking, well, you got to add more time to have it build up, whereas actually they're pulling it off quicker to keep that higher strength.
Yeah, and there are some, and I'm not even going to go there. I might be totally off base, but I think there are some that as they get a little bit older, they can actually jump a little bit, but for the most part, it's evaporating and it's losing that proofing, if you will. But I guess what I was going to say is there's a point where you can put it in at too high of an alcohol content that it strips too much from the wood, that it really will give you a funky flavor profile that you don't want. So that's why a lot of times they don't put it in at 80 or 90%. They'll water it down and get it to that 60%. And that's kind of the sweet spot for that reaction inside the cask to get the flavor that they're looking for. So of the two, which one do you guys like better?
I know. Double fisted.
You know what? It's hard to decide. I like both for different reasons. I like the richness of this one that is 51, but there's something simple. Plus, I like the smoke and that little bit of peat in the sea. It's just, I don't know.
You're right. You lose that on the 51.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, it's gone.
They're both very good, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that these are, something that you would, give to somebody else.
Yeah.
These are keepers
Yeah.
for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's a great comparison.
So price-wise, the regular 14, usually around like $45-50, but I've seen it as low as $40. A Yankee Spirits over in Sturbridge,
Okay.
it's usually $40 all day long over there. So for a 14-year-old single malt, I think it's a pretty darn good deal. This one, usually around like 55 to 60, which again for a 51%, single malt. I don't think this has an age statement, so this actually might be a younger whiskey. Not as old as the 14, but just a higher volume ABV. All right,
Still pretty impressive.
John. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
How about you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Shouting out to everybody else, but I mean, you allow me to come in here. I appreciate the fact that you guys are even doing this. You're educating me. I've always loved whiskey, but to have this chance to have you call me the savant. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're just simpletons.
You and Vanna here with her
Hannah
skills.
White.
I
Actually,
wish you all.
she does. It's impressive. It's entertaining.
Fantastic
It adds
job.
value.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys.
All right. Well, cheers. We'll see you tomorrow.